All right. Good afternoon on this beautiful Sunday. Thank you guys for taking time to hang out with me. I'm sorry I left for vacation. I feel like the market falling apart was kind of my fault. So I have a history of that, of going on vacation and having the market tank. So again, super sorry about it. Won't do it again. Let's talk about everything that's happened since Friday and the last time I talked to you guys on Wednesday. We'll probably keep this short and roll through as much as possible, as quickly as possible. Thank you for the $6.99 Double H. That song was a banger. It's pretty good, right? Dennis, Jesse, your next vacation can be after we take profits. That sounds fair. All right. Vivek Sun said $12 billion worth of Bitcoin shorts to be liquidated at 125,000. Send it. I love that. Oh, this is separate. We'll skip that. Let's go down to here. So the latest Trump tweet, there's been quite a few, and responses from China. We'll talk about those. Not a dead cat bounce. Not a dead cat bounce. Crypto Kid says, dude, so everything that happened over the past 48 hours was for nothing. There are a lot of people that are bitter at Trump and talking about Barron making a bunch of money off of crypto. That could be true. I don't know. I don't really care. I don't care. I think people are missing the forest from the trees when they're missing the eighth war that's coming to an end, when they miss the fact that Trump just literally bitch slapped China and said, fuck you, I'm going to raise tariffs by 100%. And their response was, whoa, I think we have a misunderstanding here. We apologize. Well, they didn't say we apologize, but essentially they did. They de-escalated in their communication instead of escalating further and being strong. And so they're in a position of weakness, or they wouldn't have done that. They would have sat quiet, or they would have escalated. That was the move. If you were strong, that's what you do. And that's what Trump's been doing. And now they're like, hey, you know what? Misunderstanding. We need to talk. And Trump is happy to dial it back too. Because again, all he wants is a good relationship where America is ensuring that we have the rare earth elements that we want, and that we still have power to produce and manufacture, and that we're one of the biggest in the world. And we're taking back some of the power that we gave away so freely previously. It's not rocket science, but if you don't understand, so what did Trump say in this? Don't worry about China. It will all be fine. Highly respected President Xi. He always says nice things about them. That's strategic. Just had a bad moment. So he's shitting on Xi still, but he said he doesn't want a depression for his country, basically saying that's what we would create, and neither do I. The U.S. wants to help China, not hurt it. So again, he's like hitting him with a fucking stick and being like, bitch, I'm here to help you. And I think that's the right approach. And people don't get it, and that's fine. It doesn't matter, whatever. It doesn't matter if they get it. It just matters that it's true. All right. What else we got? Shalayak, useless facts like the like thing. I agree with that. Kirby Tax, I bought the dip Friday, 10 minutes before close. Same here, brother. I started to realize what was happening. I was finally getting caught up. I'd been traveling the whole time. And I was finally getting caught up because it was a great morning. I was sitting around 6.4, 6.5 million. And then all of a sudden things started to go down. I was like, all right, I'll buy a little bit. And then I bought a little more midday. And then I saw that things had just collapsed. And then I saw the communications and I was like, well, fuck. I guess it's time to buy a lot more. So I bought BM&U and a bunch of other things. We can talk about that in a second. And we will look at prices in a second too. They look beautiful. The charts look beautiful. Which is great. That's a great way to start the week. Chicken Genius. I still like Chicken Genius. I think he's a good dude. He jumped out of the market a while ago, so he's happy to see it drop. He probably feels safer right now. I can't tell if he's in right now from this communication, but I think he is because he softened his tone. He says, is the bull market over? Almost. Okay, I kind of agree with that too. Doesn't have to be true, but I kind of agree with it. He said there's zero leverage in the system. Everyone got cleared out. That's really fucking true. We'll look at some of those stats in a little bit. This was at least 4x greater than any other liquidation, depending upon how you're looking at it. And it could be as high as 20x times greater than any liquidation that's ever come before it. Kind of a big deal. The biggest washout easily within a bull market, which is fascinating. This is the kind of stuff you usually see at the bottom of the bear, which is why if we go to coin market cap, we could see that we're at fair 31 right now on there within their crypto index, and we're still sitting at extreme fear if we use the alternative one that was from the Wayback Machine. And then CNN Fear and Greed Index, again, on the stock side, almost extreme fear as well. This is exactly the kind of conditions you want to see for further upside. You want to see incredibly bearish levels near all-time highs, and that's what we are across everything. So, yeah, is it over? Sure. The leverage is gone, though. And he said, think of this as a whale. He said, this is the best possible situation to run the charts. You have no sell pressure at all on the way up. They're gone. And I'm sorry for the people that have committed suicide and lost everything. You need better risk management if one fucking day can take away your entire life. I'm just being real here. If one day in a market can take away everything you have, then you have fucked up, because this is not the kind of market that should be destroying lives and causing people to commit suicide. It's not. And I feel really bad for the people that have been fucked by this. Learn from their pain that straight up leverage, even 2x, can destroy you. And there's a reason why I say don't do leverage almost all the time, but then I do options and 2-year leaps. They're very different things. And maybe I need to make separate videos to have people understand that. But I think a lot of people are starting to understand the difference between options right now and 2, 3x, 5x leverage, because when you watch people lose 14, 20 million, $64 million and then kill themselves in their Ferrari, you know they aren't doing it right. But he's right. This is the best situation to run it up. Everyone left behind, business as usual. People are back in spot again. If the charts don't move up in due time, I'll call this the end of the cycle. That's fair. I think all that's fair. And I agree with them. I really do. If you don't learn fast, yeah, you lose money if you don't learn risk management. And I've done it, right? Like, I've learned from my mistakes. And now I just have high confidence levels in a lot of what I'm doing. So I take a little more risk than the average person does. Hopefully the other people that are doing it with me are able to come along for the ride. Mara. This looks like a beautiful cup and handle. It's a beautiful cup and handle. It's a cup handle, very short, could grind here for a minute, not very long, I don't think, and then start to explode higher. And yeah, we're just going a lot higher with Mara. Let's keep rolling down. We got Anthony Pompliano saying, if you sold on Friday because of a social media post, does that mean you have to buy tomorrow morning because of 1-2? And the answer is yes, right? You have to buy. If you're going to be an emotional investor and sell on the news, you have to just buy every time the news changes and see how much money you can give back to the man in the exchanges, right? And the people that are positive and that are in this long term. You'll just give us all your money. I said here, so Alex Stapp said, what the fuck are we even doing? U.S. moves to cancel one of the largest solar farms, and why China built 162 miles of solar panels in the world's highest plateau, right? So I would say New York Times is definitely somebody who absolutely loves China. The only thing worse is probably the Washington Post or the Wall Street Journal. The Wall Street Journal is the one. They actually did a really good job picking the senior officials that were going to be elected when Xi came into power. They were the most accurate. Why are they so accurate? Who do they know? Who do they favor? But I wanted to respond to this because I think this is very calculated. I actually think the people that say that we don't need solar because the sun isn't out at night, I think they actually know the truth. I don't think they're retarded. These are energy specialists. But I think what we're trying to do is fuck China, and so they need to say that. Because I said, I think we're not supporting EVs and solar because we're trying to hurt China. If you look at solar panels, it's all them. They produce all the solar panels for the world, okay? And thank you. I think somebody gave 50 memberships at the beginning. Thank you for whoever that was. I don't know if it was UMB. It seems like that might be you. RH, thank you for being a whale. You can talk in chat, brother. I appreciate you. But so all the solar panels are made there. And then all the rare earth elements, as we've seen this weekend and the end of last week from Chatter, is obviously they've got a very strong card there too. So why wouldn't you apply as much pressure as possible by... it was Manny247. Thank you, sir. I need to give credit to the right person. So yeah, think about this. So why wouldn't you want to hurt them on rare earth elements and see a reduction in that to slow down their capacity, or I should say what they're producing? That way you increase their costs and you just make it shitty for them, right? Shitty for them to function and basically make it to where they could run in the red for a long time and bleed. And then solar, if you eliminate all that too and take away all the incentives, that's beautiful as well, right? So I think it's calculated. I do think eventually we're going to head down solar, but I think right now it makes more sense to go after coal and gas. We have it in abundance. And the oil that we're going to be extracting from Venezuela soon, I think, is going to be in abundance as well, as we give that country back to the person who got the Nobel Prize, who also said that Trump should have been the one to get it because she wants to run Venezuela, and she will. But anyway, let's keep going down a rabbit hole here. Let's show you some charts. So I said bullish as fuck, Ethereum at 4,032. Since that time, it has actually went up more. And again, this is bullish as fuck. It's a perfect back test. You went back and tested stuff from 2022, right? 2021 over here. All the way across. And then you finally broke above. And actually, you could draw this differently. This is probably the right way to draw this. Let me show you something real quick here. If we go down to here, this is probably the right way to draw this now. So we had resistance, resistance, resistance. Broke through it for a second, rejected off the fib, resistance, support, launched up, established support on the fib, went back, tested resistance, now launchpad. Launchpad to 54% up, around the 6,300, 6,400 level. That's what we're doing. And I think ultimately hitting at least the 10,342 level with an overshoot towards 15,000. And if that happens, the BMNU that I bought on Friday, right before the end of the close, is going to look sweet as shit. Anyway, let's go over here. Next one. And again, just look how beautiful this is, right? We had the launch. These are the same size, by the way. We had the launch, hit resistance, 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 tested back, dipped underneath, went down to here, found support, again, over the fib, same kind of shit, closing the week, and now it's launchpad. And if you do the math here, these are almost the exact same length. And so we're just doing a continuation of our previous pattern, and that gets us up again towards that 8,000, 9,000-ish level. It's a beautiful level, guys, on Ethereum. I'm excited for it. And then Bitcoin, again, I told you guys that we were going to, this morning, 6 hours ago, I said, what's likely to happen is the most painful direction is up after liquidating 1.6 million longs. So some of these might have been multiple accounts for the same person, but I think it's safe to say that there were probably 500,000 to 1 million people around the world that lost everything in their accounts. And hopefully everything in their accounts wasn't everything in their wealth. But it's sad. But this is what happens. You can't use massive amounts of leverage to get ahead. It will fuck you. And anyway, that's what I think we're doing there. Oil's still looking great. Or I'm sorry, not oil. Government bonds, 10-year bonds are getting ready to roll over and to create a 3 handle. This will make the MOVE index go back to a really beautiful place again. And it will signal lower rates are coming. Just like we already know, because if we go over to the CME Fed Watch tool and we hit the refresh button here, we're going to see 97.8% chance that on the 29th, roughly 2 weeks from today, a little over 2 weeks, we're going to get another Fed rate cut. And this is just going to continue to draw down with the government shutdown, with what's going on with China. This is going to continue to make people think that rates are going to actually roll over. From a technical standpoint, it's fucking beautiful. All right, what do we got? We got a chat going. Let me see here. S&P's up. NASDAQ's up. Heck, Jesse, just saw a notification for this live stream. Well, I'm glad you're here, sir. Kirby Tax, love it. Polly, what BMU did you buy, Jesse? Just BMNU. It's a leverage play. It's a 2x play. I wouldn't do calls because then you're doing leverage on an asset with high volatility, or a stock, I should say, that's consuming and providing and buying like fucking crazy of an asset that's high volatility. So you don't want to, that's like a mixer. It calls on it would just fucking eat you alive. Unless it just goes straight up. I know, thanks, Mint, how much, but thanks for, how much did I buy? I don't know. That's a good question. Let's do this. We'll go back over here. We'll go back over. I don't even know what my trades were. Let me see. Could probably scroll down real quick. You got to be in there somewhere. Oh, you know what? I probably did subs. So let's just use our tabs like I'm not a moron. Let's see here. Yeah. Okay. This is the last thing that I showed. It showed I sold TLT, some TLT. I bought 2,000 shares of BMNU. I bought another 1,000. I bought another 2,000. So I bought 5,000 at least there. I don't know exactly what number that is, but it's fairly high. I might have missed this. I think I need to remember to put these in the Discord. I'm sorry. I was on vacation, and from mobile, I don't have an easy way to do that. I probably need to fix it. But yeah, so earlier in the day, in the morning, I was selling CleanSpark contracts that were up by a shit ton. And I was buying TLT, ARG, Tesla shares, right? And so I was taking a lot of money, a lot of gains for the day, which again had been multiple days that I was taking gains on CleanSpark calls. Very happy about that because then I was able to apply that stuff to all these other things. And it looks like I probably bought the dip at the right time. So kudos to fucking me. Anyway. Look at the Tesla options, 2027, 600. I desperately need more Tesla, please. Do you like this leap? I really don't want to look at leaps live. I think people need to look at those on their own because every time I fucking talk about them, I try to limit it unless I'm just introducing a new company or something, and I think I want to do that under members chat on YouTube because if I look at a bunch of option contracts and a bunch of people, hundreds of people jump into them, it throws off the price for some people and they get fucked. So I think it's better for people to do an options 101 video and teach somebody to fish and figure it out for themselves. And that way the people that put in the effort and take the time to learn it are the ones that benefit from it. I think that's very meritocratic, and that's the way I want to be. So, and again, I think the only time, like if I do a member only video on something new that I'm invested in, I just don't want people, I always warn people all the time. I don't like seeing people getting fucked on options that are much lower volume than the actual stock. And I'm not big on that. And I don't want people buying my shit either. Maximilian, what's next to CleanSpark? What's next for CleanSpark? I think is probably what you mean. Let's look at that. What is next for CleanSpark? Great question. Glad you asked. Let's go back and look. So the daily looks ugly, but you just can't really pay attention to that right now. Not yet, because I think the week is going to get a lot better. And so I don't want to talk about how ugly the daily looks, because I think the weekly next week will override that and will look beautifully on track, and the longer time frames still look good. So I'm going to say that we're just doing a back test of support. We probably hit right down here on this red line. Again, this is available in the Discord. And maybe, I mean, we kind of already got here, honestly. We already hit like 1870 something. I'm just talking about 1825 for a gap close. So I really don't know that matters. I think we're going to start launching, and then the next move is 24. The next move beyond that is 32. I think it's very easy for it to do that, and I'm starting to think that we can actually make it all the way up to the 50 range for CleanSpark, especially if Mike Alfred ends up talking to it. If you're pessimistic, Mike Alfred, he's a pumper, but he's an effective one. And if you're optimistic about him, he's actually a really smart guy. Who I think he's a lot smarter than I gave him credit for a long time ago, and I like the fact that he's voicing his thoughts in a more thorough manner in YouTube videos and spaces and things like that, because he's fun to listen to. That's my take. So I think CleanSpark's going to do really good, man. Woke up for this. It's now 6 a.m. in Japan. Thanks, Tony. Rudu, like the idea of BMNU instead of options. It's just simple and easy, and that way you don't have to worry about the volume-related issues of picking the wrong contracts. Jeff, a.k.a. Torch, I mean, there's a price that's paid with it, right? Simplicity maybe takes away some of the gains, especially if you're really good at picking options contracts. But at the same time, you're getting simplicity and you get volume. So there's a reason those things exist. Jeff, a.k.a. Torch, nice to see you on a fun day Sunday. Thanks for the reassurance that you're going to be fine and that everything's good. Yeah, we should talk more about that too. Let me do this. I want to show Solana. I didn't talk about that yet. So I said, just like my nuts, there was one that was smaller, there was one that was bigger, but we just perfectly matched these bitches up. I mean, if you look right here, these are very symmetrical nuts, and that's a beautifully wide shaft. on what I would say is an inverse head and shoulders pattern. And the measured move, I shit you not, if you just go from candle bodies, like if you go from here to the candle body and ignore the extra wick, the measured move perfectly puts us at the .618. And that's just exactly what you want to see. It's just one of the most beautiful charts in crypto right now. So I think Solana is still going up 244%. It's only 100 billion. And when I say that in the crypto world, it's no joke, because only 100 billion means you're not that big. I mean, I shouldn't say that, but you're just not that big. Bitcoin is massive by comparison. XRP is bigger. Ethereum is definitely bigger. Binance is bigger. USD Tether is bigger than Solana right now. And all of these are getting ready to explode higher. So I think it's very possible these smaller vessels, especially when they have the use case, will explode higher. And I like that. So again, dick and balls going up. I also want to remind people of simplistic concepts that nobody seems to ever remember when they panic sell shit, okay? Or panic buy shit, because you can do both. And some people do both consistently, and that's really a good way to wreck your portfolio. They chase all the time, and they panic sell, and then they panic buy because they want to FOMO into shit. But you buy down here, and you sell over here. It's really that simple. If you do this consistently, over longer time frames, you can really ride waves very well across a lot of different assets. There's macro events that can occur, but you can really make it work, okay? I'm not going to read all of this, but this is huge. It's an article from Tesla on X, and it's kind of amazing that they're going through this level of detail and just talking about how exceptional their company is. It's kick-ass, and it's very true in my opinion. Also, I talked today, I said this is a must-watch if you want to better understand what's going to happen with energy and how we're going to defend ourselves against China. Again, people don't actually listen to these people. It would afford you much greater
President Trump,
understanding if you listen to the people.
National security emergency that we're under. But this is, again...
If you listen to these people, if you listen to Doug Burgum, if you listen to these guys talk about what's going on and explain the situation... they do a really good job telling you why we're doing what we're doing and how we're doing what we're doing in order to increase energy. And it's really important to understand it. I think, doesn't it seem important to pay attention to China right now? I mean, I've been doing that all the time. I do that probably 15 to 20 fucking hours a week. I watch content about China so that I can better understand it, because I think it's pivotal towards what's going to be happening at a macro level in the next several years, right? Like, don't you think that's pretty simple concept to understand, that the United States and China and their battle with and against each other is going to be the most pivotal thing to happen for markets from a macro perspective? Because, again, it can decide global liquidity as well, and just what the next steps are. So it's very important to keep track of. We're winning, and that's great. And if that starts to change, I'll let you know. But things are going good, and what Trump did was just simply, he just simply threw his nuts in front of their face, just like they had been doing for several months to him, trying to be the tough guys, and eventually he just snapped, because they were sending letters to our allies and in some cases, enemies, basically saying, "Hey, don't work with the United States," or tariff the shit out of them and make this stuff work for us. They were trying to, and this is a power they haven't had previously, and we're not going to give it away. Tesla, real quickly, and then I'll check chat again. NASDAQ's up 300 points in pre-market. Kick ass. Tesla could close the gap down at about 390 something. So you might want to just remember that tomorrow morning if there's any negativity, or if there's people that just haven't caught up with the news and they're trying to be safe, or just an algo kicks off because of some short headline. It would be very easy for us to close the 390 range, and then I think we just keep going higher up into the fives, like I've been calling for a long time. And and somebody said, like, why? Like, they're like, hey, I think there's more gaps. It's gonna fall down towards them. And I said no. And then they said why? And then I said, why do the lower gaps in Tesla's chart not matter? Lowering of rates on the long end of the curve is helping. We just showed you the 10-year. Massive amounts of global liquidity that is not slowing down. That is not slowing down. We just got that stuff from cross-border capital, Michael Howell, who we love so much. We'll have to look at that sometime here. Fundamentals of Tesla are stronger than ever. And again, on November 7th, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, we're going to be looking at an Optimus robot and probably version 3. So I think that's very exciting and not far away. And then we're breaking out of a technical setup, out of a 4.5-year trend. So I think that's kind of a big deal. I'm just going to show you where we're at in that chart real quick, and then we'll move on. But again, so we're breaking out from this very, very long trend. That blue box is that very, very long trend. And we're just crushing it and going higher. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And it depends on how you look at this, honestly. Let's do this. If you're really looking at it, we had one moment where we broke above and then we couldn't maintain. Now we just broke above again and we back tested what it was, that range up until December 2024. So this is kind of like our first confirmation of breaking out of the range. That's probably the right way to look at it. And I'm very excited for the price action. I think it's going to be really good next week for all these reasons. Let's see what else we got here. We got Shay saying President Trump just said everything will be fine. G just had a bad moment. And I said, I've been saying for weeks that China was posturing, and all real Donald Trump did was return the favor on Friday in the way he usually does, over the top, just so you know he's crazy enough not to be fucked with. And I stand by that. Let's see here. What else we got? We got more news. That's possible too. Somebody said the way crypto's moving up, I doubt they'll even get a chance to do some buys. I agree. Martin Skrelly got done talking about Tesla and saying that it's funny that there's a Tesla queue and these people think that Elon's a fraud, and they were showing Tesla revenue. And we got Tom Lee reposting that. I don't think Tom's really posted anything since Friday. Let's just take a look here real quick. And I'm going to set my air conditioning. It is hot in this fucking room. Let me see here. We'll refresh and see what we got from our boy Tom Lee. In case you guys don't know it, every once in a while we share stuff from my buddy Tom Lee. He's never told me that was okay, but I assume it is because he hasn't yelled at me either. So Tom, if that is not okay, it is your responsibility to let me know. I apologize. I know you have disclaimers everywhere though, so don't sue me. That's all I ask. Yeah, tomorrow the bond market is closed by both the NYSE and the NASDAQ, but the New York Stock Exchange, and the NASDAQ are open on Monday for Columbus Day. So just so people know, the market is open tomorrow. So it looks like Hardika Singh was talking about, are we on a merry-go-round? She had a good write-up. I enjoyed it. And then Sean Farrell, this again was more of a warning Friday night about just like how crazy everything was. I don't know that they've really updated thoughts a lot. They're probably just trying to sit back and watch what happens. We did see, though, that Vance, J.D. Vance also said Trump was willing to be reasonable negotiator with China. Trump hopes the U.S. doesn't need to use our leverage on them. We appreciate the friendship Trump developed with China's Xi. So again, we're still being very diplomatic. My man, Mike Alfred, he said, I promise you that these influencers hyperventilating on X about how terrible Friday was will look really silly by the end of this month. All noise, zoom out, focus on the big picture. I 100% agree with him. Shardy agrees about my balls and the fact that they're looking good, and that we should be going up. She was talking about here, ironic about balls. So again, Shardy's in agreement. Make sure you follow her. Let's see here. What do we got for chat real quick? Wall Street increases Tesla Q3 2025 earnings estimate by 8%, EPS from 50 to 54. Awesome. Mick Jims, best options for Tesla. I haven't really been looking at options for Tesla. It's something I'm not interested in right now. I made an options 101 video. I would encourage all of you to check it out. I don't want to be the guy who gives option contracts out that everybody chases and be accused in the future of like pumping and dumping shit. So I'm just going to have people figure these things out on their own and give them the tools to do it. I think that's the right way for me to proceed in this field. Are you buying on leverage with Solana? Yeah, I'm buying SOLT, and I bought some of that Thursday, I want to say. I think I was buying a lot of Solana on Thursday. We can go back and look at that. Where is the Solana chart? There it is. Let's pull that up. So the SOLT chart. The SOLT chart has been just decimated. So just to get back to its previous high, and I don't normally look at these, but I did buy more because it's a 65% just to get to the previous high, let alone going higher. And I think this thing could go up 300, 400% pretty easily. Maybe even 500 in the months ahead as Solt breaks out. So please, guys, do me this favor. When Solana starts breaking out, I don't want to hear you guys saying, "Oh, I really should have bought Solana, but I just wasn't paying attention to how quickly it was going to run." I have told you many times now what I think of what's going to happen to Solana. So you have no excuse. Ethereum up 11% now. Yeah, let's just look over here. Ethereum is up, yeah, almost 11%. You're right. And again, closing above this downward trend. We talked about this. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Tried to get above, couldn't do it. Resistance, dropped down hard, found support, got up, couldn't hold this fib, bounced all the way down, found support again, closing the weekly candle. And one of the most beautiful bounce weekly candles I've seen in a very long time, better than the one we saw on March 31st, back when Ethereum was $1,375. It looks more like this motherfucker over here, and at least that much upside. Again, I think we'll be at 10,000 soon enough. And this is probably one of the nicest looking charts in crypto, especially for the large caps. It looks absolutely fucking gorgeous. Anyway, what else are we doing here? So yeah, Ethereum doing real good, guys. Japan market is closed for Sports Day for the MetaPlanet folks. Yeah, they're done. They're done. That got royally beat up too. I just didn't buy it because it actually handled the day really well. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's already washed out. It looks like a W pattern. This looks like the bottom, guys. I'm just going to throw it out. I know this thing's just been a pain in the fucking ass, and I get it. I'm still adding to MetaPlanet. I've only added like 30,000, but I'm going to add more. I just need to do it under the right broker because this other one I have only gives me $10,000 worth that I can buy at a time, and I pay a $50 fee, and it's just bullshit, and I can't get it on Robinhood. So it's just like the vehicles that I have access to in the States just are not conducive without a lot of management, and buying 10,000 blocks at a time and making sure they clear when you're doing limit orders is a pain in the fucking ass. It's probably one of the only things that's keeping me really rushing capital in. That, and I believe that CleanSpark and Mara and ArcG and all these others are just going to make us so much money. Let's talk about that real quickly. Let's go to ArcG real fast over here. And just look at this. This is a beautiful chart. It has not gotten bad. Could it drop further down to here and hit the $28 level? It could do that. But if that happens, it's just going to keep going higher. I might even look to get more calls if that ends up happening, honestly, because I think there's just such a great opportunity here, and I think it's getting ready to explode. And I think there's nothing but good stuff. I very much believe in U.S. exceptionalism. I think I show it all the time in these charts and just how good we're set up. And I hope people are paying attention. Let's keep going here. Get out of some of these charts and get down to the end of the weeds. So we got Holgar, who put "Good morning from Germany," which is no longer among world's top 10 innovative countries. ACC to World Intellectual Property Organization, WIPO, which measures innovation strength of 139 nations. Germany has fallen to 11th place, overtaken by China. WIPO uses 78, I don't want to go into the whole thing, 78 indicators to assemble its Global Innovation Index. And so, again, you can see Switzerland is actually first. Sweden is second. United States is third. I think the United States is going to be second again very quick, and I think eventually it's going to be in first place. Look at South Korea going higher, but they just embraced a communist, so that's probably not going to help. We got Japan ticking a little bit up. We got China ticking up. We got Germany going down, Denmark going up, Singapore going down one spot, Canada falling off a fucking cliff. Who even knows where the fuck they are anymore? Congrats if you're Canadian. Israel going up and Hong Kong going up, which again kind of counts as China. It's just interesting, which is why I'm sharing it. I was in ArcG shares in 2020. Nice. I was not, but I was more than happy to start buying the dip with leaps, 2.5-year leaps a while ago. And it looks like I might actually make money on those. They expire in January of 2026. And all we have to do is hit 50, and I think we're going to hit it. So it's going to be very interesting. Elon Musk about Grok. Our benchmark has this. Jay said our benchmark has the top 10 or top 6 AI models trading real capital. Grok 4 is winning so far. It was short and then flipped to long. Timing the bottom was perfect. It's up 500% in one day. So obviously this needs more, but these are people using Grok to figure out trading and how much capital is being applied to it. And they're winning. And that's pretty cool. It's kind of crazy, actually. You were in ARC G40 January 2026, and the calls are juicy. They've gotten juicy out of nowhere, haven't they? Sam Badawi, I like Sam. I think he's a smart guy. He said, who are the real winners from the recent tariff tensions? Rare earth metals. Here's how they performed on Friday. And so he's showing like TMRC. I don't know enough about these to know like what is the creme de la creme out of this list. This is a big list. I don't know if there's a basket I can choose that helps with it. If you guys know of any of that, please let me know. But I like the idea of figuring out at least rare earth refinement in the United States or surrounding areas. I think one of the reasons we're being so helpful with Argentina, along with many reasons, is because of rare earth elements and their ability to be able to process and willingness to do so. Yeah, I'm excited. Bitcoin news, Bitcoin futures mark just saw the largest single-day open interest wipeout in history with more than 11 billion in positions cleared. Just looking at this is fucking insane. It shows open interest to the price percent change in the BTC price. So you can see this goes back to like at least April of 2025, and the open interest fell off a fucking cliff. By far the worst in the last half a year. Processing is indeed the bottleneck. Yes, it is. I think 90% of the refinement is done with China, right? And 70% of the rare earth minerals are pulled from China. So we need to close that gap completely. Unlock real estate. Any thoughts, Jesse, on next? I don't really have any right now. Processing is indeed. McJim says MP Metals. Is that a good one? So somebody pointed out here, Wrecked Fencer said, alts versus BTC pair just hit December 2020 lows. So alts are having their worst performance next to BTC going back 5 years to the end of 2021 or the bottom of 2021 when the market really just collapsed, right? And you had all these exchanges collapsing and Silvergate Bank collapsing because of what Biden was doing with the government. In Operation Choke Point 2.0, there was just all this stuff happening. And we're back to those levels. This is the time to be in altcoins. I think only a few are going to do well. If you saw, even things like SUI were down almost 70%, maybe worse than that at some points on really illiquid exchanges. Everybody just got wrecked. So a lot of people are saying MP Materials is the best as far as refinement. Is that looking forward? Is that from the past? Or is that additional information that's been defined by somebody from the Trump administration? We'll skip this, but it was an interesting conversation between George Stephanopoulos and J.D. Vance where he literally cut them off at the end because he didn't like what J.D. Vance was saying. J.D. Vance absolutely tore him a new asshole. You know what? It's only 1 minute. Let's just, for the fuck of it, listen to it.
I don't know what tape you're referring to, George. I saw media reports that Tom Homan accepted a bribe. There's no evidence of that. And here's, George, why fewer and fewer people watch your program. Awesome. And thanks, why you're losing credibility. Because you're talking for now 5 minutes with the Vice President of the United States about this story regarding Tom Homan, a story that I've read about, but I don't even know the video that you're talking about. Meanwhile, low-income women can't get food because the Democrats and Chuck Schumer have shut down the government. Right now, we're trying to figure out how to pay our troops because Chuck Schumer has shut down the government. You are focused on a bogus story. You're insinuating criminal wrongdoing against a guy who has done nothing wrong instead of focusing on the fact that our country is struggling because our government's shut down. Let's talk about the real issues, George. I think the American people would benefit much more from that than from you going down some weird left-wing rabbit hole where the facts clearly show that Tom Homan didn't engage in any criminal wrongdoing.
It's not a weird left-wing rabbit hole. I didn't insinuate anything. I asked you whether Tom Homan accepted $50,000, as was heard on an audio tape recorded by the FBI in September 2024, and you did not answer the question. Thank you for your time this morning.
No, George, I said that I don't.
Up next. We'll be right back.
How fucking rude is this asshole? A lot of people saying USAR is interesting on top of MP being kind of like best in class. And it looks like UUUU and a few others, LAC. So, all right. Well, I might have to do some research. If you guys have reasons why they're so great, please let me know. I wouldn't mind it. Geiger Capital, who I think is brilliant, said ICE is American men and women. They are officers enforcing our existing immigration laws. They are removing foreign citizens who are in our country without permission. If you illegally entered another country, would you not expect them to remove you? Agreed. Probably not Gestapo. I talked about Free Palestine losers who are still rallying as of yesterday inside of Melbourne, Australia. Because why? Because they actually just hate Jews and they don't like the fact that they still have a state and that this war is coming to an end because they're not sure what they're going to be able to do on the weekends now. We've got crypto gems, final shakeout before alt season, hold strong. Again, we know that this is the worst alts have performed to BTC in 5 years. And this looks like a perfect mirror of 2020, 2021. And then again, 2025 to 2026, this looks like what was happening. They don't put dates, and that's some chart crime shit right there. I know why they do it, because they want to telegraph a message, but there are variances in the timing of this happening. But I do agree that there is something like this happening. I don't think, though, that it might double. It might double. We might get this go from 1.7 trillion-ish up to 2.8. That might happen. It's not too bad. Robin Brooks, China is playing hardball with rare earths. I guess we should talk about this. Is a hardball with rare earths, not because it has the upper hand in the trade conflict with the U.S., but because it has to. China's exports to the U.S. have been clobbered and are a massive hit to China's export sector. They already have a slumping property sector. They already destroyed so many different areas of tech. They already destroyed their tech educational sector. They've done so much to fuck themselves, and we're just helping them now. China is in a position of weakness, not strength, is what he says here. And if we look over, China's exports to the U.S. in billions have plummeted from what their highs were way over there. We're talking about levels 2012, guys. 2012, 13 years ago. Wrap your head around that shit. Why isn't that a fucking headline? You know why? Because the mainstream media is bullshit, fucking trash, and 90% of these business websites and publications are trash, and half of them are probably like communist, socialist fucking trash. This is the real fucking story right here. These guys are getting crushed. They lost 13 years of manufacturing sales to the United States and goods sales to the United States. And at the same time, we're not doing that bad. We've had a gradual drop, but this is nothing. Based on percentages, it's nothing compared to what they're dealing with. That same note, there's a narrative that China has the upper hand in its confrontation with the U.S. is nonsense, says Robin Brooks. Who is Robin Brooks? Robin Brooks is a senior fellow at Brookings Institute. He is previously the chief economist of the IIF and chief forex strategist for Goldman Sachs. So he's done a couple of jobs, you know. It's a little bit better than the Subway shop down the fucking street. And he said, my opinions are my own. So I'd say he's got a little bit of street cred, but it says there's a narrative that China has the upper hand in the confrontations. It's nonsense. U.S. tariffs are crushing China's export sector, which must divert goods to all kinds of places, suffering a huge hit to margins in the process, hence China's hardball on rare earths. They are hurting right now. It is not helpful to them that the blue line with these 14 different countries, what are those countries? Japan, UK, Hong Kong, Vietnam, Thailand, and Indonesia. Hong Kong is basically like them. I don't want to use this analogy, but basically it's a circular relationship since Hong Kong is really China. And Vietnam is not a rich country. Thailand is not a rich country. Indonesia is not a rich country. And Japan ain't that rich nowadays either. And they've got a lot of issues within their economy, including their out of control inflation. So they can't demand the kind of prices they can demand in the United States. So yes, they're going down. They're selling to these other countries and they're losing a lot of money and it's causing companies to shut down and then they lose capacity. And it's like a downward fucking spiral of death and destruction. That's what China's looking at. Gordon Gecko wants you guys to know, altcoin Gordon's got almost 1 million followers. He's pretty good at what he does. He says, are you sure you want to get shaken out right before Bitcoin heads to 140K? And I agree with that. It's at least going to 140Ks. We also have this. We got Crypto Jim says final shakeout before alt season. Be ready, and it shows the Bitcoin to altcoins pair, and it shows how it's at one of the lowest levels ever, finding support over here, and that it doesn't look like it's run at all, and that it could double basically in size. And I again agree with that. We've got Robin Brooks again, great article in Fortune magazine on the bias in markets to always see China as having the upper hand in tariff and standoff with the U.S. That's nonsense. China has one growth sector, exports, and that sector is getting grabbed by the fucking balls right now. Okay? And they're twisting it. The twister. Sorry, I had to do that for anybody that watched that UFC fight guy. That was great. We might have to pull up that video and go out with it. Anyway, we already talked about Tesla. Bitmine bought $500 million worth of ETH in the market crash. So they're just soaking it up. Tom Lee's like, give it all to me. And think about it. The Bitcoin treasuries, as long as they had access to capital and those relationships, they were probably trying to buy too. We'll see. We'll get official announcements and see how they were doing, but I would imagine they were buying. We got these Antifa assholes, just again, what they do with lasers. This is an old one from 2020, but it just shows that this was a war zone and it was dangerous for the people that worked there. And getting lasers shined in your fucking eyes is not a good thing. So these guys are assholes. They deserve to get the shit beat out of them. And that's what's coming. So that's cool. Michael Saylor said, don't stop believing. And I can't get that song out of my head right now. And I think that's probably what he's thinking too, because he's old like me. But I got some feeling that orange dots are coming. Orange dots are coming. Walter Bloomberg asked if Trump is considering invoking Insurrection Act. Vance says he's looking at all of his options, and I will tell you, he will. How do you not know this already? How fucking stupid do people need to be? You don't understand how Trump reacts yet? You're going to find out soon enough. Also, my favorite putty cat, Cantonese cat, and again, you get the ukulele along with it. It's really just a bonus. He has a nice little image here of the total three. Again, this is the top shitcoin and Bitcoin, the top three, right? So Bitcoin and Ethereum. Weekly wick touched lower Bollinger Band perfectly. It's almost like this is algorithmic. So not only did it touch that perfectly, I'm willing to bet that it's above the midline here. And again, found beautiful support, beautiful back test, beautiful support level, the majority of the way up. You can't hate it. We've got the EU central bank seriously considering launching the euro stablecoin on Ethereum. I can tell you what, don't put any of your money into that bullshit, but I like to see the news. Will history repeat itself again? It shows the crypto total market cap. You can see the rally. You can see the bottoming. You can see the reaccumulation zone. You can see the rally. You can see the bottoming. You can see the reaccumulation zone. What do you think comes next? Do you have to be a rocket scientist? I'm going to say no. This is such a great setup for more upside. I'm more bullish than I was Friday morning. Extreme fear at 112,000 Bitcoin. Love it. And again, back to the putty cat showing Ethereum. He's actually got prices that I think are insane, but whatever. You know, he could be high on catnip. We don't know. But he's got him in the 20,000 range. I think, could it do that? Maybe. I think that's stretching it. BMNR and MSTR, please. Yeah, sure. Why not? Fuck it. Let's pull some shit up. You guys got other charts you want to look at? We've said a lot already. We can look at charts. I'll try and go back and chat too and just see what people said. So we actually did something called overshooting support. A lot of people think that's bad, but it hasn't been confirmed, right? It was just on the daily time frame, so it doesn't mean shit, actually. And if anything, I think what's going to happen is I think we'll be above 53.48, really lickety split, bleh. And then, because we don't even know, like I got to go back and look at what price points we got with BMNR getting their Ethereum, but I think just in a matter of time they'll be above 55. 53, 55. Once we establish that as support, we basically support again. And that means we have our ascending triangle. The measured move gets us close to the .618 golden retracement zone at 146 something. And so that's a roughly, let's see here. Let's readjust some lines here. We'll save this. This is in the Discord, so you guys have access to it when I save it. And I've got it shared out in there. You guys can just pull it up. But that's essentially anywhere from like 160 to 180% upside. Even more so if we go all the way up to the previous recent high of 161. I think that's very doable. I think we could get that 200% move, right? I don't hate it. I think it's going to happen. And now that I own a bunch of BMNU, fuck yeah, let's do that shit. Because if we go up 200% on BMNR in the next month and I make 400 to 500%, that sounds yummy. Yummy, yummy. MSTR. MSTR is a dog, and it's probably going to continue to be a dog. Why? Just because last cycle it topped essentially 7 months early, right? Like over here, it topped over here in February of 2021. The market cycle top, I want to say, was like October or November for Bitcoin. That's when it kind of double topped. So really, MSTR stopped 7 months earlier. So why couldn't it have stopped over here and maybe it's already seen the top? It sure has weakness on good days when things like Iron, things like Bitfarms, things like CleanSpark, things like Mara were doing a lot better. This was taking a giant shit. So maybe that's not a good thing. Let's look at Metaplanet real quickly. Not that it can't go higher, but I just think you're not going to get a good return, guys, on MicroStrategy. So I don't understand why anybody would still be in it. I hope to God nobody's in MSTX because I think that would just be a horrible fucking idea. And let me update this chart real quick. So this is the Japanese symbol, 3350, for Metaplanet. And I want to point out something. I need to actually drop this further because it did go a little bit further. Let's just do this. We'll get it right about there. We'll lower this. Again, just updating the charts while I'm here, guys. Got to do some basic maintenance, right? So last time we had a pretty good move over here. I'm just going to show this. So the last major move that these guys had, they went up 60% roughly, right? From the bottom of April 7th to the top that was reached on June 16th. It didn't take a lot of time, did it? So I believe that it's very easy, honestly, in my opinion, for us to go up 140%. I think it can go to the golden retracement at 200%. I think that there's even a possibility that we overshoot and try and establish a new high at 308%. It's interesting, and it's still a good play in my opinion. I have not looked at leaps for it, but I do think that what we're finding over here is the level of support, and that it's going to be strong support that will wick up one more time, and then we'll start testing this breakout zone near the 795 range. Again, that's in Japanese yen, and we're going to be doing it at the perfect time. I always say that if you have like these resistance and support zones, and then you have like a Fibonacci level next to it, it acts as a break for it to be able to flow through. It's like the path of least resistance is the easiest way for the price to go. It's the same thing with water. It's the same thing with many things on this earth. And I think the path of resistance is up. And I think that, I don't know, in like a really short order, I think this next week we're going to start to see Metaplanet break out, in my opinion, or at least, maybe a hair over a week, but it's going to be soon. J Duff says, "What up, Jesse? Happy to see our miners taking off. You mind looking at TerraWolf chart? I haven't looked at that in a long time, but I probably can." Jesse, let me read some other notes here though too. Yeah, gold is up. That is true, and I think it'll continue to go up. But I think what you're gonna get from gold is going to be like nothing in comparison, and I think it's very close to a top. I've talked about this before. I just want to look here at the RSI, guys, and tell you that this RSI is officially, let's just look here. This is officially the highest RSI since on the monthly time frame since 1973. So 27 plus 25, 52 fucking years that we're hitting these levels, right? And so I think we are eventually going to break down. I think actually I'd be surprised if we get over 4,300 over the short term before we have a major drop. And I think we're starting to create the bearish divergence. But who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's possible that this thing goes up to 53, 30 or something before it ends up rolling over. It doesn't really matter much. It's not a competitor to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a much smaller vehicle, so it will move a lot more. And it's like, what are you going to do? Go from 4,000 to 5,300 and you're going to gain like that little bump and then get super excited about it? No, you're not. You're going to start moving into more radical things like Bitcoin because of seasonality and knowing how much money you can make. I think that's what's going to happen. Luke said, I hope you had a good trip and a great weekend. Just wanted to say thank you for coming on here tonight to update us. Not a problem. I know I know I'm going to have to be around and more available during some of these crazy events. I just want you guys to know that I might not immediately like jump on a live stream because I don't think it's helpful. I think it just creates panic when everything's falling apart and I can't give you a good story. Show you how the charts have recovered, show you how good things are, tell you about everything that's happening behind the scenes from a macro perspective and a geopolitical perspective that are going to make you rich. So I think it's better that I wait and that I give you the hopium when you need it, and you guys just take some fucking time off for a day or two. You know what I mean? I think that's the deal. Let's go to Wolf, though. We should look at Iron, too. One sec. Getting my clocky little thing going on. All right, yeah, let's jump over here. I'm pretty sure I got Wolf. Probably hasn't been updated in ages, guys. I don't look at other miners that I don't hold. So this is probably a very old chart. So just give it some grace. So I'm going to go to here. I'm actually going to bring this down a little bit. I don't even know what time frame this is. That's 2022. That's probably right. Okay. All right, so we hit this next fib at the 786. This chart actually looks pretty good. So what have we done since the low? And what is that? What is that the low of? That was the low of 2023. This is a weird one. Some of these stocks did really good from previous cycle. I want to do this, though. We're going to change this. I want to look more broadly over time frames here to get a better view. So I'm going to go back to where this thing was in 2020 to the last cycle top, all the way down to the last cycle bottom. It's going to be a weird chart on this one, but I just want to see it. So, yeah, that's rough because it's just giving us it's giving us basically we're going to run to the next high. I think that's true, though. I think it could go to 42. It's a $5.5 billion company, though. I don't know if Wolf has as strong of a case at 5.5 billion than a CleanSpark does. I think CleanSpark has like really great management in the Bitcoin space, and then it's about the same size, and then it's got the I'm getting into HPC plays, and I'm hanging out with Treasury Secretary Bessent and Mike Alfred. It's just a different beast. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Personally, same size, I would rather be in CleanSpark. Sam said, can you check on Coincilium? I can real briefly. I hate this one, though, so much. I have 1.2 or 3 million shares in this thing, so I should like it more. But it's only 7 cents right now. It did get all the way up to about 10 cents, which was nice because this thing's been as low as 3 cents. So, I mean, you've seen a couple 100% increase. I think that we can easily get back up here 354% to 31 cents. I think there's a pretty good chance that we could even go up to 55 cents. So if you're willing to do a lot of risk and dial up the risk curve, this could be a good one, but you just have to realize you are dialing up the risk curve. This is a shitty company compared to some of the others. It's not as reputable by any means, and you're dialing up the risk curve. But I think this can happen. I think it could even test its previous high, just because people love to gamble at a certain point, and I think they've been utterly fucked by altcoins, at least not everything that isn't the big ones. And so I think they're willing to try something more Bitcoin related because they might see it as safer. More work for Trevor says, Jesse, do you make sure you save your videos on an external hard drive and not on your computer for better performance? Maybe the cause of your computer issues occasionally. I do use an external hard drive that I have for my Mac that's using whatever that latest connection speed is. I've got the nicest Mac you can have. I don't know. There's a few problems that I've had previously, but I don't know if it's that. I think I just have to reboot every once in a while. Sometimes I don't reboot for like a week, and that'll fuck it up or if I have the VPN on at the start of a stream, that'll fuck it up too. So I really just have to reboot more consistently, and then again, make sure that I don't have a VPN running when it's doing it because it just fucks it up. I'll be rich, says Kirby. Good job. Sailor says, always talking about the importance of volatility, yet MSTR hasn't had as much lately. I know, right? So it's sucking. It's taking away the engine because it's going to different things. And that's fine. I mean, that happens every once in a while. You have underperformers and outperformers. It's normal. Bitcoin is at 115.5 almost right now, guys. Up 4.25% on the day. That's beautiful. NH, thank you for becoming a member. You can talk in chat. Kyle, curious your thoughts on PBW breaking out of a 4-year trend, clean energy ETF. What does it encompass? Do you know? It sounds interesting. I don't know anything about it. Let me see. I probably need to make a copy because I don't think I own that one. Or I don't think we've looked it up before. PBW. And I should probably, on top of that, I should probably look at it from the investing side. Oof, it's run a lot, dude. That's a lot. What have we run? From 13 to 33, and then back down to 31. That's pretty good. It's a doubling. Let's look here. It is 574 million in AUM, so it hasn't really done much recently. I can't look this up, though, the way I traditionally do because it's an ETF, and I don't know what's sitting inside of it. There isn't much for me to look at here, bro. I probably need to get a better understanding. This does look like this is a hell of a amount of volume. This is probably a good buy zone. If this is a good thing to invest in, I can't tell you that. I just don't know. It's been heavily beat up since its glory days in February of 2021. So it definitely, I mean, it went from 144 down to $13. So it's had a 90% drop. This might not be a bad investment. It's getting up near the 200 moving average on the weekly time frame. It's interesting. I just don't know anything about it. Silver's rocking. Yep. There's a lot of things doing well. Global liquidity is expanding. Matt Nintendo, Jess, I personally feel like I sell my MSTR, it'll soar like CleanSpark did. I don't think that's true, but good luck. Steve Johnson, what's up, you magnificent... Oh, and then I lost it. You magnificent bastards. Starting show 1.5 speed. Let's go. ZA 100%. Hey, Jesse, IBIT chart, please, from RH. IBIT, there's really no sense in charting because it's basically Bitcoin. And I've showed you Bitcoin. Bitcoin is sitting really good. The midline for it now, I'm just going to probably turn that green because it's support. You can see it down. Oh, you can't see it in the bottom right corner. Let me just pull it up. I thought I had it there. You know what? I'll just fucking show it to you real quick. I'll set that back up tomorrow. But this looks great, right? This looks great. I'm going to take this one out of here. We've got a trend line that we're getting close to that goes back a very long time, right? That goes back to the last cycle top, both in the beginning of the year and then also at the very end. That's where it starts. And again, so we're getting super close to that. When we get to like 119, we'll be above that area. And this is just a launch pad, guys. This looks so good right now. And I was just saying the measured move for the inverse head and shoulders that Bitcoin is sitting on, shoulder, head, shoulder, launch pad. It looks something like the 145 to 60 range. So, and I think that's where it's going to end up. So I'm very excited about that. I think it's going to be a really good thing. Let me see what else we got here. You think the decimated Bitcoin treasury coins, Sequoians, will get another shot? Yeah, I do. And I've been buying the Smarter Web Company and MetaPlanet last week. I do think they'll get another shot. I need to take a look at Asset and Titties because it's been royally decimated. Let me just kill this actually real quick. It's been royally decimated. Royally decimated. I just need to figure out the liquidation schedule. So we sold over here, right, guys? Remember this? Remember when we sold the tippity top of this thing? Since that time, let's just see. How far down is it? Here, I'll just bring this over. It's really been fucked. Since that time, it is down almost 90%. I'm not sure it's done, though, and we've just started into this gap. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do an alert right over here once we get under like $1 or some shit. I'm going to probably start looking at this one, maybe just with a small amount of option contracts. And then if we get down near the bottom, and we close this other gap, I'm probably going to look at, again, maybe buying some more seriously. Because it's down so much. I'm not going to put targets in this one right now, but I might have some fun with this one with options contracts just because it is interesting. But I need to understand, are they done? Are they done with massive amounts of dilution and warrant issuance? And what does that look like? Just filed 1.2 billion shares on Friday. Did they? And I think it dropped like, what did it drop? Like, I think in after hours. I don't think after hours are reflected here. Oh, dude, are after hours reflected here? Motherfucker. Let me check something real quick, guys. This is interesting. This could be really interesting. I just need to take a look. I need to look at after hours so I can see what's happening with this beast. ASST, do I have you on my list? Let's see. I don't have you on my list. Let me just look here. I'm going to add ASST to this list super fast because I want to look on Robinhood and see where we're sitting. I think it's very important because I think it's down a lot. It's down 33% after hours. So this is great. It is sitting at 105, which puts us, oh my God, I don't even need this alert. It's already wasted. This alert's already wasted. So we are sitting right now, guys, on this one. We're sitting right about here. So let me just see here. We're sitting right about here. So we've already closed that much of the gap. And it sounds like with the issuance that we're talking about, it wouldn't surprise me at all if we really test the volume down here in the 94-cent range. So this is getting interesting, right? I'm going to probably do this. I'm going to do like it. I'll probably look in that. Once we dip under the 90s, once we dip to right around 90, I'm interested because that could happen really quick. But I'm going to try and look at options. I think this could be fascinating. This could be a fun one. So maybe that's something I end up looking at. A bunch more comments. ASST, yeah, 105 and after hours. If you look at Robinhood, here, I'll show you guys real quick. So this is it right now. It's at 105. So it's down 47, 48% probably. Almost 50% from where it was before Friday. So anybody that still owns that, dude, I feel bad for those motherfuckers because if you didn't sell it over here that day that we made all that money, remember we took it from over here, shot up like crazy, made hundreds of percent on it, and then got the fuck out. Well, it's down 88% since that time. Actually worse than that. Let's go down to here. It's down 91% since that time. And if it closes the gap fully, it'll be down 95%. And that seems fair. But again, these guys will have a lot of Bitcoin. Maybe it ends up being something. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Again, the ones I like the most for Bitcoin treasuries are MetaPlanet and Smarter Web Company. Maybe Coincilium does all right. I don't know. It's just such a piece of shit. Ron Rico, lawsuits are being threatened by several shareholders. That could be a negative that pushes it down even more. But isn't this thing affiliated with Vivek in some way? And didn't what's his name, Ben Workman, join the board on this one? I think they'll be all right. That's my guess. Bro, please do Next. I don't know Next really well, but let me look at it. Kyle said top 10 holdings are only 20% of total assets, so spend across so many investments. Matt Nintendo, before that you said, so you don't think miners will run with BTC better than treasury companies when we launch? Oh no, miners will do way better. I think miners do better, and I think treasuries still lack, and then I think eventually miners end up peaking, and then people jump into treasuries, and I think HPC miners do better, just to be clear. That is what I believe. Anyway, next. Let's look at that. But I want to look over here first. Let's do this. I got to remember what Next is. Okay. I need to look at this company. Is it Next Era Energy? Which Next is it? Is it Next Decade Corporation? Which Next is it? Simler is merging with who? Unlock. What you got, man? Which one is it, bro? It's NEXT. I'll just go with Next Decade Corporation. I don't know what it is. Okay, thank you. What's special about them? Can you tell me? Because all I see right now, Manny247, 18 months as a whale. Fuck, dude, that's a long time. Awesome. But all I see is just debt growth here, right? Like $6 billion or $5 billion in debt, operating expenses going through the roof. Share dilution isn't too bad. Revenue I don't see data in here. Is this missing, or is this just like they've got a really holy, just cash flow losses? I just don't know what this is, bro. I mean, I could look at it, but tell me why I care. That's the one thing I'm always curious about. I'm assuming it's like future growth stuff. EOC is another one we should probably look at. Manny's an OG. Yes, he is. So here's Next. So Next did test perfectly down to the first fib, but these are violent. These are violent ranges, guys. This is so weird. This is choppy as fuck. Like, look at this. This thing just traded between the .382 and down here. It's slowly been going higher, though. Look. Higher, 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 higher. If it continues, it could go up even more. I just don't know anything about the company. It's really volatile. It's volatile as fuck. Over here on July 22nd or something, it was all the way up to 840. And then over here by September, just 7 weeks later, it was all the way down to 428. So you went from 840 or 875 to 428. You lost 50% of your value. Seems to be pretty normal. I just don't know. Are the financials really as shitty as what that showed? Let me look here. Income statement. Let me do more financials. I'll look at it on here too. Statistics, revenue. There's just nothing here. Overview. There's no real money making here, right? Losses, 88 million loss, 61 million loss. I guess that's better. Is that what's going to happen in the future? Let me look over here. Let me look at estimates. I don't even know what the fuck is going on with this company. I don't know. You guys got to tell me more about Next and why I care. Joel, should I sell Riot whole or sell Riot or Mara that I'm up on to buy BMNR? Not financial advice. I don't know. It depends if you own options. There's a lot of stuff. I actually like the potential for CleanSpark options a lot. Iron, maybe Bitfarms, Cypher, and Mara, I think will do a catch-up play. Fred Thiel isn't going to sit on this nap, and he's going to try and get in on the good times. So I would expect some kind of news event from him where they're trying to do something. It might never happen. No, or let's see, LNG, should I sell? Unlock said they're the biggest LNG manufacturers of the USA. Next is. Wow. They need to get some government help, man. Because, fuck. Oh, they're just building up debt, and they're not making any money. So I hope we can figure that out. JDAC88, higher highs and higher lows. Gnome, thanks for doing this on a Sunday, Jesse. Always showing up in the community for the community. I try to. Amit, Jesse, can you check Open? Oh, yeah. Who was talking about Open? Mike Alfred talked about Open, guys. He said that if it continues to drop, he was going to look to apply some capital towards it. Again, we know the housing sector is going to take off. We know they're diluting a lot of shares right now, but they did have a positive cash flow for Q2 of 2025. The revenue is starting to ramp. The net income wasn't as bad. It looks better, right? We don't hate that. Estimates don't look that good going forward, but imagine if they're low estimates and then they do better, that could be cool. I don't know a lot about these guys with their company. I do know this, though. I like to see this. Insider activity. When insiders are buying shit tons of their own stock. Q3 of 2025, what is this? In thousands of shares. So this is like 60,000, 80,000 shares. 80,000 in thousands of shares. What is that? 80 million shares? Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I don't know. But that's looking good. And shares held short has increased. Institutional ownership's been going down, though. I'd be curious why. Sentiment says bullish for news. Analyst estimates are bearish, and earnings call estimates are bullish. So there's some disparity here. Trump just texted all good with China. Yep, we talked about that earlier in the show. I think I'm done, guys. I think I'm going to probably call it here, okay? Up like 500% on Riot. Yeah, I don't know. I like Solt a lot. BMNR, I think, could do good, but again, I'd want to be in BMNU. I've moved some to that just with this big route. BMNU can do 200%, actually more than 200%, or I'm sorry, more than 100% what the underlying does for BMNR. And so I think you could get a nice multiplier on that. I don't have This is roughly where I'm sitting for portfolio allocation. It hasn't changed too much since this last post that I did just on October 9th, 3 days ago. And so you can see that BMNR is not a huge amount. It's 10%. Tesla's 12. Sold is 15. CleanSpark is 20. ArcG was 21. Those dropped a little bit, so these are probably more evenly distributed across the top ones. But this is kind of how I'm sitting. So think about when I'm looking at the world is through this lens, right? All the miners have 2x now too. CLS, yeah, that's cool. That's interesting. Again, those are dangerous because you can lose a lot of money. But I think, honestly, based on timing, if you're looking to exit in the next month, I think you're probably going to do pretty good on a lot of those. It's higher risk though, so just always think about it. EOC, let's save that one for tomorrow. I'd like to spend a little time talking about EOC. If you guys have questions too, or if anybody has good comments and things that they want to look at, you know, maybe prep a little presentation so we can talk about it a little bit, and you can talk about the good things, and we can look at that one in greater detail tomorrow. But let's save a little bit for tomorrow. I don't want to do everything today. Any plan for tomorrow? Yeah, I'll see you guys at 7. The markets are going to be open, so I'll be here. Anyway, peace out, guys. I love you. I got to get some chili. It's fall where I'm at, and we've redone our front porch, and it looks beautiful. I'm going to eat some chili with Fritos, and I'm going to hang out and enjoy the rest of my day. Make sure that you guys are positive and that you're not just giving up on life here and what's going on in the Bitcoin space and what's going on with the USA and what's going on with this government. I think we're winning. I don't think everybody can see that because I think way too many people look through the lens of a very biased media, whether it be business or whether it be just broader. 90% of it is woke trash. And so if you want to know the truth, you need to come here and you need to listen to people like me. I appreciate you guys if you could put comments after the video. And if you could on X, again, like and share and comment under that main post. It gives it a broader view, and I really appreciate you guys. I will be here a lot for you guys over the next 1 to 2 months, maybe even longer than that. And then I'm probably going to step back a little bit and slow things down. Maybe I'm doing twice a week. Maybe I'm doing a market open, and maybe I'm doing like a market wrap up on a Friday or something. And just talking about my plans. Maybe we'll do something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But I'm probably going to do less because I had a lot of traveling to do and enjoying life. So peace out, guys. I love you. And we will see you tomorrow at 7 a.m., probably a little